On October 6, 2020, I was burned in a severe cooking accident. It was one of those days where I had like so many things going on in my head that I wasn't fully present with myself or paying attention when I was cooking something on my gas stove, and I reached over my gas stove to grab something out of the microwave above, and my loose-fitting shirt caught the flame below. I ended up with third-degree and second-degree burns on around 30% of my body. I spent around 2.5 months or 70 days in the intensive care unit of a hospital, undergoing daily painful bandage changes, around 3 or 4 skin graft surgeries, and hours of physical and occupational therapy. And when I got out of the hospital, I continued my healing. You see, I feel like I had to get to know this new vessel I was in, if you will. I started to feel like these sensations, right? It would be this like uneasiness in my stomach, this tension in my throat, this kind of buzzing in my head. And at moments I couldn't control, I felt like my soul would slowly start to drift out of my physical body. And it was like I was looking at myself from above. And I didn't know why exactly I was feeling these things, other than in my mind, there was now 2 Emilys, right? Like there was the Emily before my accident, who I knew as this like 23-year-old who just moved to New York City. I was the one who would like get their roommates to be like, guys, like let's go out dancing, like let's have a good time. And at the same time, all throughout elementary school to college, I was the one sitting in the classroom, too scared to raise their hand because I would look dumb, stupid, wouldn't say the right thing. And now after my accident, I don't really know who I am or like who I'm gonna be. And I go back to work and I see friends and family, I even go on dates and like try to play soccer again, an activity I enjoyed before my accident. But I still can't shake these feelings. And so my second year as a burn survivor, I joined this like virtual support group for burn survivors. And I get to share these experiences I'm having with them, how like strangers keep coming up to me and asking me like, hey, like what happened to you just seeing my scars? And I tell these other burn survivors on these online support calls how this like makes me feel almost like alien to humanity with these people only focused on one part of me. And they understand, and that feels great, and we talk a lot more about things that we're going through, or like our skin is so itchy, or like how the sun impacts us. But we focus so much on what happens, and I don't know, I just feel like something is missing in these interactions. And none of these survivors online look like me, like no one has like visible scars like mine. But in my third year as a burn survivor, that all changes. I get to attend something called the World Burn Conference in Washington, D.C. And this is basically a gathering of survivors and their loved ones, a chance to connect and share resources with one another. So as I'm heading to this conference, I'm like in my head, like, all right, like let's go. Like I'm finally gonna meet some people who look like me. And I get to the conference and I see other people with visible scars like mine. And I don't know, I just kind of isolate myself. I felt like that kid again in the classroom, too scared or unsure what to say. And so I go to bed early that night without having talked to a single burn survivor. And I wake up the next morning and like in my head, like, come on, Emily, like let's go. Like you came all this way, like you can do this. And I check out the breakout rooms for the conference, and I find one, it's like LGBTQIA breakout room. I'm like, wow, like I didn't know this was gonna be here, like how niche. Like as a queer person, like I have to attend. Like I was already pretty comfortable in my queerness before my accident. So I was like, this is like an easy entry point to like talk to some burn survivors. And I get to this breakout room and we're all like sitting around in a semicircle and we just talk for an hour about like being queer and being burn survivors and any intersection of the two. And at the end of the hour, this kid Darren, who's like lives in DC where the conference is, he's like, guys, like we've got to go out to like a queer bar, a queer club before the conference is over. And we're like, okay, like let's do it. He's like, all right, 8 p.m., we meet in the lobby of the conference room and we're going to the club bunker. And we're like, sounds like a plan, like let's do it. And so we like leave each other and we like go on to the rest of the conference. At this point, I'm just like giving little head nods to other burn survivors. Just like acknowledging one another's presence. And like, if I do talk to them, it's like, goes a little something like, hey, like, where are you from? Like, what do you enjoy doing? And in my head, this is like a stark contrast to the conversations I was having online in the virtual support groups that focus so much on like what happened to us. And before I know it, it's 8 p.m. and I'm like meeting in the lobby with these other queer burn survivors, and we start walking to Bunker in DC, and I'm like, okay, like making some friends, like this is happening. And the excitement continues because we step into Bunker and Darren like whips off his shirt. I'm like, okay. And he's like, he's in like good company, right? Because there's a bunch of other like gay ripped men just dancing around doing the same thing. And we're all just dancing, enjoying the music, having a good time, like looking out for one another, just like normal friends. But at one point in the night, I start to feel like super hot temperature-wise. And one thing to know about burn survivors, in these places that were burned or that like you see these scars, we can't sweat as effectively or at all. So it's almost like my inner air conditioner is working at a 30% less capacity than the average person. So I'm like, should I step outside? Should I drink some water? I don't want to lose the group I'm with, like it's a tightly packed club. And I see everyone else with their shirt off, and like my heart starts to race a little bit. I'm like, should I take my shirt off? Like, do I look good enough? Like, what should I do? Like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, fuck it. And I whip off my shirt, and I have this like Fenty bra on underneath, you know, Fenty Rihanna's lingerie line. So I'm feeling pretty like good about myself now. I just keep dancing. The song comes on. It's like, I want to dance with somebody. I want to feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I want to dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. And I just continue like that, and it gets to the night where the bar is closing, and we like all start walking back to the conference center together. And one of the burn survivors who was dancing with me, she comes up to me and she's like, Emily, like, I just want to say like thank you for dancing the way you did. Like the way you were so free and confident in yourself, like makes me want to be more confident in my own skin. I just take it all in. I like look at her, and she's got scars on her arms and her hands, and she's a firefighter, and I know she's powerful. I just look at her and I'm like, thank you for telling me, and like, with or without scars, you're beautiful. And we're back at the conference center, and we all hug goodnight. And like in those moments, dancing and with this other burn survivor telling me thank you, like I just feel seen in who I am, and I want to keep being me. And so the next day, as I'm leaving in my Uber, trying to go back to catch my train back to New York City, I just wrote a few reflections on my weekend at the World Burn Conference. And it goes a little something like this. See me. People stare at me the past 3 years, and I never feel seen. One weekend with other survivors, I finally get what it means to feel seen. Thank you.